Welcome to Quick Conversations with Thought Leaders. Today's segment is on industry trends, and I'm so excited to be here with my partners who help me bring my events to life and many, many other organizations, companies, etc. So it is so important to really take your events to the next level, and you cannot do that by ourselves as planners. And so we're going to just discuss the ways in which we enhance our events together and with other projects, so that hopefully you're inspired. You can take some of these tips and tricks to enhance your own events, or you can hire these great folks over here to bring your events to life. So first, I just like to have both my partners here introduce themselves, share how long they've been in the industry, and the work that they currently do to enhance events. Victoria, you want to start?
Awesome, yes. Hi, I'm Victoria Kay. I work with AFR Furniture Rental. I have been in the hospitality industry almost my whole life, but I've been in the furniture rental business for about 3 years. I'm really excited to help clients design and kind of bring their vision to life with furniture. I get to help with things from weddings to the Super Bowl to the White House, and every time it's just as exciting. And I'm really excited to be here with Egypt. I really love working with Planning to Perfection.
My name is Julius Walker with Epic Tech, one of the co-owners of Epic Tech. We're an audiovisual firm that helps make events visually look good, sound good, and feel good. So we partner with Egypt on a lot of events to make sure they're successful. So if you think about the technical stuff, that's us.
Awesome. Thank you. So just as we're all in events are constantly changing. The landscape is changing just like any other industry. And so I wanted to talk a little bit today about just like how things are changing, evolving, and what does that look for you guys? How are you moving with the times? That sort of thing. So I know for me, as an event planner that primarily works with nonprofits and corporations, one of the big things for us, particularly in the nonprofit world, is we are constantly doing that chicken dinner event. We're doing the galas, the fundraisers, where we need to raise money. We need to honor people. We need to have fundraising components to the event. And we've been traditionally doing them the same way. And so clients come to me and they're like, how do we do this differently? How do we make it more exciting? How do we, get people moving around, get them engaged, that sort of thing. And so what I have found is that the partners, my partners here, and then also other partners that are not with us today, is how we do that, how we switch it up. Because you're right, no one wants to go to the same event over and over again. And so the way that we can switch it up is visually, how it looks visually, enhancing or creating themes and weaving those themes and all the elements that will help bring the theme to life. But I would feel like visually is a big component of how we make the event feel different. Of course, there are also interactive things that you can do to get people engaged, etc. But today I kind of want to focus on the visuals, right? What people see. I feel like both of you specialize in that. And so I want to take time to sort of really talk about that. So this is a question for everyone. What are some of the latest technologies or design trends transforming a live event? And how are you keeping up and staying ahead of the curve?
Do you want
Oh
to
yeah. So for us is post-COVID created a lot of AV technicians that are not really AV technicians, right? So it's like people had got a camera, they got a little mixer, and then I'm a full production house, right? So we tend to have clients that have great expectations, which doesn't align to the capital needed to execute that expectation. So the first thing we have to kind of do is like nail down what's the vision and what's the budget, right? And that's the difficulty in this time because a lot of people are very visual. So a lot of lighting, the lighting environment, lighting coming at your crew, being able to simulcast out to multiple locations. And that's kind of where we have to stay cutting edge is like, how do we accomplish that? How do we accomplish that in a cost efficient way? How do we, make sure it aligns with the aesthetics? Because if you have too many lights, too many speakers, the screens are in the wrong location, furniture starts to become an issue. And before COVID, we ran into a lot of like podium conversations. Post COVID, there's a lot of fireside chats. So we have to take a different element in lighting because we have to light a whole stage instead of a particular area. We have to have mood lighting for the different fireside chats. So cutting edge technology is the more visual you could be for the client up front and go through budget, the better it does on the back end.
I agree. I think that keeping open lines of communication and making sure that your expectation and the client's expectation are both communicated so that way you do know, okay, yeah, this is when I will be getting my design deck or my vision board, or we'll have time to meet to go over and kind of put something together. In the furniture industry, I agree. I feel like staying on top of these trends, whether it is a fireside chat or if it is, oh, we don't want the upholstered chairs, we'd like stools on the stage. Just staying ahead of that and kind of having things in your wheelhouse already so that when your clients do come to you, you are able to just show them something right away and give them those visuals. But yeah, visuals are really big lately, definitely.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. Definitely some things I'm thinking about keeping in my back pocket when I call you guys up for the next event and what we should be doing. So if you could share, I know in the last segment we talked about just the technologies that you need to be aware of that's helping transform events. So to keep that conversation going, what do you think the next big change in the industry is going to be as far as technology? I mean, if you had a crystal ball and you could see where things are going.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more into like the hybrid model, which is not necessarily like some people on live and some people in the room. It's more to like the virtual world. So people are going to be in facilities in goggles. They're going to be in the general session with their regular eyes. So you have ability to be inside of a world inside the room and be in the room. So I think that's kind of going to be the next steps of events. Is Epic Tech starting to play around in some of that space? Absolutely.
Okay.
But that's kind of where I kind of see technology going because you had to follow the trends. Apple's came out with the Vision Pros. You had the metaverse, like the Web3. That stuff didn't go away. It's here. It's just people are adapting. So I think in like the first ones to market to offer that solution, clients will bite onto it because everybody. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people now have goggles. A lot of people like to go into the virtual world, but now offering that into event space could be an upsell for clientele.
Now, I'm curious what you think, when you bring that sort of technology into a live event, how does that change? Or do you think it matters? There's just natural interactions that you get with people in person. Like, does that...
No, because like some of these virtual spaces, yeah, it does, but some of these virtual spaces, they've created communities within inside of them. So you can actually have like real life, real time conversations. So a person that could be in the conference, but they're in they're in the satellite location in San Francisco, you would never have to be able to reach out and touch, but they could be sitting in the chair next to you.
Gotcha.
So you can open up virtual conference space, but you also had the conference space there. So it's like I think those two models are something where it'd be really intriguing for participant because now for the individual that is doing the tech, now you have another world of like, hey, how do I do virtual engagement? And I think that's where technology is going to go because they're doing that currently in people's houses, and they always start in your house. Like they always like, hey, buy this at home, and then you can't get enough, and then you start to add it on gigs.
It feels like something we could have used during that time of COVID.
Yeah.
That could have really like changed events for sure.
Because like it's even too is like they're doing something very similar to it, and I believe in Dallas there's like this warehouse that they have, and you can like go there and watch immersive football. So it feels like you're on the 50-yard line with this massive screen. You get Dolby sound. So like those elements are happening. It's just like how do we bring that into the actual live event general session space?
Awesome.
So that's what I think is the next wave.
I mean, I can almost see, like, for a conference in particular, a virtual conference, that being, like, a really cool element to add in and keep folks engaged. So I'm definitely excited to see, and also excited to see how that translate to a gala or, a fundraising event. Is, it will be interesting. So thank you for sharing that. Now I would like to move into our segment 3, where we're going to spend some time talking to Victoria about the creative the creative visual furniture, all the pieces that bring, a live event to life. So, Victoria, how does AFR help elevate both the look and flow of an event? And from your perspective, how has the event design and rental industry shifted over the years?
So I would say that, well, AFR, I feel like we're able to help elevate events by providing furniture and being able to kind of transform a space, and then in turn being able to kind of transport people from, oh, we're not just in a ballroom in the middle of Philadelphia. We're actually in, someone's living room sitting and having a conversation. So that really does kind of help tell the story of the event from the planner perspective. When I get to sit down with planners and go over their vision and hear their design, maybe we might not have the exact thing they're looking for, but we can kind of come up with something together and be creative and be able to get that overall look at the end of what their goal is. In terms of trend shifting, I feel like lately it's been a lot of maybe I would say last minute add-ons for trends. And I know that kind of sounds funny, but it's like, people don't always think of furniture at the beginning of their planning process. We don't have, there are some people who might not have it in their budget, and then they think about it at the end. And that's where we're there. I love to be there at the end. I love to be the person who's like, yeah, absolutely, we can help you tomorrow. Like, yes, that's great. So I feel like timing has been something that I've seen change in trends. And then also, like Julius was saying, stage sets have been a huge hit lately.
Stage.
Sets, like,
Okay.
so for fireside chats or panels, or even if it is like someone's getting like a new president coming into a college or something like that, and the president's addressing everyone. But yeah, just things like that, I would say.
Awesome. I mean, I can tell you, working with AFR definitely helps bring your vision to life. We're working on a project right now where we are transforming a space into a home. And, along with tons of VIP sections and all these things. And Victoria and I have, spent some time on some Zoom calls and, just really visualizing what those spaces can look like. And she's truly been a great partner in just helping us conceptualize those spaces and really just make it feel like a living room, a kitchen, a bedroom, etc. So I'm excited about that end product. And we've also done some other great projects, with sets and fireside chats and panel discussions. And Julius has been there making sure the lighting is right and the sound is good. And, it's been great. It's been great working with both partners. So excited about what's to come. All right. So lastly, this is a question for everyone. And the question is, personalization is a huge trend right now. How are you using data, technology, or creative design to create more tailored and meaningful event experiences for your attendees?
I would say creating customization and personalization in any kind of industry, especially hospitality, I feel like is number one. You want your client to feel like they're your only client. You want them to know that they are getting your personal touch and experience and expertise in the field that you're in. And I do feel like with a lot of my clients, I'm able to tailor their experience by giving them a full design deck of a couple of different options for some things that we talked about, or, in the literal sense of actually customizing things, branding opportunities. We can brand pretty much any piece of furniture we have, which is really exciting, besides, like our couches and things like that. But, yeah, so being able to give a different experience every time. Yes, I might have a template in the back of my head, or I might have done an event similar to this before, but every time I'm meeting with a client or every time we are conceptualizing something, it's the first time. That's how I like to look at it, definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think for us, once you make that conversion from it's your event to it's our event, it kind of helps make the creative juices kind of flow.
Yeah.
So like the client tends to trust the direction you take in the lane you take. So like for us is important. Like our whole team is like, getting retrained on like making sure we can provide virtual sets. So like being able to show 3D renderings. and let the client kind of like get inside of the room before they get into the room. So I think that's super important as well. And then also just understanding that TVs no longer cost $2,000 a TV, you know? So it's like the more signage we can drop, the more experiments we can drop in hallways inside the room, being able to create like lounge approaches inside of conferences, or if you're doing a gala at night. I think all that has to play in the part, but it's just at the point of like becoming a team as quickly as possible. And being able to like know the vision. So like we work with Egypt a lot, so I already kind of know Egypt's trends. So I know her trends, but I know what we can add to it. So we kind of like work through that and like think ahead, so she doesn't have to think about that stuff because we already know what she likes, and she'll like it because we know what she likes in the beginning. You know, so I think the more you do that as an organization, whether you're furniture, whether you're AV, whether you're the signage folks that's printing out the signs, like all that comes into play.
I love that. I love that comment around being a part of the team.
Yeah.
That's definitely one thing that we, our motto and how we work with our clients is it's no longer you guys, it's us, right? And, you know, we're as much invested in whatever you're trying to do because we want it to be successful. We want you to be successful. And if you're successful, we're successful. So going into it, you know, if I had to give like one set of advice, which is my last question, it really is, you know, approaching all events as if it's your own, right? Because if you're invested into the event just as much as your client is, you're going to think outside the box. You're going to think outside the box. You're going to come up with solutions that they're not even thinking of. And even if they can't do the solution, even if they can't, it's maybe out of the budget or whatever, it's the fact that you're thinking about it and you are excited just as much as they are. So what, if you had to give an advice to someone who is looking to do a successful event, right? And trying to level it up, what would you do from your industry perspective?
So I think the biggest thing is we go back to like budget, right?
Yes.
So it's like setting realistic goals. So if this is a one-off client, then it is what it is. Like you just can't do it, right? But if it's a client that we create relationship, because I tell all of our team, people buy the person, not the product, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of AV companies that have speakers and microphones, but they don't have the customer service and the experience they have with Epic Tech, right? So one thing I tell our folks is like, you know, let's understand their budget. And if we know they need 10 more uplights, let's throw it on the truck. It might not be on our initial pulls sheet, but if we know it's going to add enough to experience, like, let's just add it in there, you know, because at the end of the day, if the client is successful, then we are successful. We have a reoccurring client. So back to what Egypt's saying, that having a team nucleus, and if you don't have a team, don't do the event. Because 9 times out of 10, a singular person doing the event, the success rate is not high. Because the day of a show, the things that you thought you planned the most for happen. You know, like a truck doesn't work and doesn't leave the dock on time, but you had an 8-hour window, it went to 7, it went to 6. Like the printing didn't come on time, so you know the show starts at 5 o'clock and you're getting your prints at 3. Like those things happen, but if you don't have a team around you, it makes it very hard to be successful. So I think teamwork makes the dream work.
I love that. I agree. At AFR, my position, I'm an account manager, so I am one of one. I get to work one-on-one with my clients. So that's my favorite part of the job, is that I'm their go-to person every single time, and I really do get to become an extension of their team and have that nucleus, like you were saying. But I think in terms of elevating experience and again in the event is truly just again keeping those lines of communication open and then being able to give your best service every single time to that client, whether it's a repeat client, a first time client. If you are, like Julius was saying, sometimes it is what it is, but if you're giving it your all, the client's going to see, and then they will end up, you know, they'll buy into you, they will like you. Something that I love too about my position is that I am able to become friends with my clients and come and sit and do podcasts and things like this, you know? So definitely just being able to give that undivided attention is a level of service that I'm really happy that I now get to do with AFR. and yeah, providing again, back to the visuals, 3D renderings, like you were saying, working in Prism, Cvent, All Seated, all of those fun ones. And just, again, being able to give the full picture to the client so that way they have the realistic expectation of what you can provide.
Awesome, awesome. And one thing I'll just mention about AFR, the other thing I love is not only working with you, but also the team that comes and delivers. So it's normally the same guys most of the time. And it's like the spirit, the energy is even in the delivery team, which is amazing, right? Because sometimes you have a great relationship with, your salesperson or your account manager or whatever, but then the team that comes to actually put the room together is like, what? At least the attitude or whatever, but not with the AFR guys. Like, I feel like, I've done a lot of events with you guys now using your items and things like that, and I've gotten most of the time the same group of people, and
And
the
they do
energy is
love you
good.
too. They're always like, "Oh, this is an Egypt job." I'm like, "It is. It is." They're like, "Okay, great." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. So, thank you for sitting down with me and just talking about event trends and like how the industry is changing. I know that there's probably a ton more things we probably could have talked about, but we don't have time to do that. So, if you need an amazing AV production company, Epic Tech, you can find them on social. Where can they find you?
Epic Tech Group Inc. on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. You can find us there. We're constantly posting.
Amazing furniture rentals, design help, layouts, etc. Where can we find you?
I am AFR at afr.victoria on Instagram or at AFR Furniture Rental, and you can find us at afrevents.com.
And if you need an event planner, don't forget to check us out at Planning to Perfection. We are here to help you take your event to the next level. And we cannot wait to see you at our next Quick Conversations with Thought Leaders.